I interviewed a public announcement,
Mhm.
and your name came up during the interview. So I just want to play you just a short clip. Now, Dre, you said that you've seen Lisa Van Allen around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you said that she was doing crazy stuff.
Yeah, I think this was when she was grown, because around the Home Alone time, if you research this, I wasn't in that video. So this is the time she say she met him. So I think maybe, I don't know how long it was after that, but then, yeah, then I came back around and then I seen her around. And, she was doing her, she's doing her thing.
Meaning?
I mean, to the point where, dude is,
It's too late.
dude is very, he wanted his way. So I just tell you one thing. We sitting in the studio, and they got the console thing in the middle, the couches on the back, big board in front. And all of a sudden, she would just walk in with, just some panties on and stand in front of the board and just stand there.
Okay.
So that's the light version of it. She might have a top or whatever on, but just standing there, whatever. And for all of us in there to pretty much view, it was that type of thing.
Okay.
But for some people, they need candles and stuff like that to set a mood. So this is just common practice. It's standard. Come on, that.
It became normal. That's kind of normal.
Okay.
For the lifestyle, that I was
See the
in.
look on his face?
It was normal.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This was not any sort of crazy revelation or anything else like that. It's just describing a time. Did you see, the guy that was speaking?
Yeah, that was Dre.
Studio?
But what he's talking about, I know what he's talking about. It's pretty much Rob would tell me beforehand to put on something specific and then walk in the room. So yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about. So it wasn't like I was just like, ooh, I'm about to go walk in the room. No, it wasn't like that,
Okay.
But he left out the part though where Rob wouldn't let them speak to me, or I couldn't speak to them, or couldn't nobody even look at me and things like. He left that out. Like he may have glanced, but then he would turn his head straight the other way. So he left all that out.
Well, no, they talked about that. They said that when R. Kelly's women, like including his wife, would come around, they would not be allowed to talk to her, look at her, whatever, and that kind of applied to any woman associated with R. Kelly.
Right.
Okay, so that story was more or less accurate.
Right. But he didn't really even say anything, honestly, other than, I came in there for Rob in my underwear with a shirt on, and then he tried to justify me being underage when I met Rob by saying he wasn't there, but he came later. So, and to be fair to me, honestly, when he did come around, he still doesn't know I still was 17 when I was in Chicago until, I turned 18. So yeah, you weren't at the Home Alone video, but when I was in Chicago, I was still 17.
Got it. So now you have a daughter that's in high school, right?
Yeah.
She was actually on Red Table Talk.
Yes, she
with
was.
with Jada. As a family, having you being in the documentary and your daughter being in high school and being on social media, I'm sure, and so forth. How has this really kind of affected, your home life?
It's affected it, but at the same time, we were kind of prepared for this, I've kind of gradually, I dealt with a little bit back in 2008, so it's not totally new to me. So, I talked to my children, so none of this was like a surprise. So, she may have kids at school ask her, oh, I saw your mom on TV, or, do you think that's okay, this or that, or things like that, every now and then. But she's a really smart girl, and she knows how to handle herself, and she knows all about everything. I'm very open and honest with her, just like I am with you and everyone else.
Yeah. Well, she was crying on
Yeah.
On Red Table Talk, so
Right.
obviously it does affect her.
Well, yeah,
you know.
she was crying because she knows what I've dealt with, and she's feeling, you know, for me, she's like, people, you never know what others have gone through, you know.
You know, I think I was talking to Linnell about this, and she made an interesting point that she feels that R. Kelly ultimately got off on that first trial because the girl in the video was black. And ultimately, all of the women that R. Kelly was dealing with were, young black girls. Had you taken that same situation and put in a young blonde girl, they came from a middle class home, there's actually something called white girl syndrome, in the media that shows a disproportionate amount of media attention goes to young white women of a certain, financial level than goes to other women. Do you feel that being a black woman and having everyone else in the situation be black women also is the reason why it went on for so long under the radar?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I agree with that.
Okay. And music has had a history of this type of thing. Jerry Lee Lewis was married to his cousin at like she was 13 or something of that sort. Elvis Presley was married to Lisa Marie Presley was very young at the time. You've seen it over and over again. Do you feel that if R. Kelly goes to prison, uh, that it'll send a message that this type of thing won't be tolerated anymore?
Hopefully, that's the goal. You know what I mean? The goal is for, everyone to be held accountable for their actions. It's also to get a message out there to people in power, not just musicians, just anyone that thinks that they can pay off people and get big lawyers and get away with things. Yeah, it shouldn't be tolerated, and it won't be.